Eyes as blue as the azure sky. That is the symbol of the contractor. Entrusted by the spirit king of the wind with the powers of his domain. I bear this mark, the stigma of the wind.
Just the wind in my
Hello, and welcome to 26 and Under, the anime podcast where we watch a anime that is at the most 26 episodes or less within a week, and then talk about it in the next at the end of the week. I am your host Matt. Joined with me is my co-host Rob.
Hello.
And Henry.
What up, what up?
So, as this is our first episode, we are going to do a small introduction to each of us and our experience level with anime, starting with me. I watch too much. I watch all
Yes.
the seasonals, and then I would decide to watch random 50 episodes of anime in like 2 days.
Yeah, some might say you have a problem, Matt.
I might also say I have a problem, but I can't stop. I won't stop. Can't make me.
Back when I was in high school, I watched way too much anime, and it kind of engrossed like all of my day. But after I got out of high school, I kind of didn't watch it for about 3 or 4 years. I just kind of rewatched things like Code Geass because it's one of my favorite ones. But I'm returning back now with this podcast. Is going to get me watching more and more anime, and that's about it.
Hopefully, good ones.
No.
And I'm very casual. I watch anime when I have the time. I like to enjoy popular ones, but make me appreciate the good ones when they come by.
So we didn't record anything to random off our first one, so we just kind of randomed it out. And
Yep.
we're going to random every anime out. I have a 700 some odd growing list of anime because we keep making new rules every time I finish the list.
This is true.
Um,
That and like every season, we're like,
I'm going to
there-
do it every year. I'm gonna.
Oh, you're gonna
I'm
update it every year?
I'm gonna update it every year once
Okay.
we finally stop with rules.
that's probably good. Yeah, once we actually iron out some like limitations.
After about the midway of the year, we're probably going to turn into anime characters from watching it too much.
Oh my god.
Oh, please.
Hopefully we'll hit good ones before
Man.
like episode 10.
Yep. And the other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start building a rank structure. So,
Yep.
unfortunately,
We are going to be ranking them starting with the first one. So whatever we got for number 1 is automatically the best anime we've watched for the podcast.
that's such strong words for what we randomed.
We randomed into Kaze No Stigma, or Stigma of the Wind if you have the DVD release, because everything else calls it by its Japanese name, including Crunchyroll, Funimation, and any other way you can watch it online, because people don't like using English translated names except for Crunchyroll nowadays. Kaze No Stigma is a light novel adaptation from way back in the day, before they just became I think they were becoming common at that time.
Yeah, this was made in 2007.
The light novel came out in January 2003, and the manga came out in April 9, 2007. But about 3 days later is when it aired on Chiba TV and a couple other stations.
But I would say this was right at the start of where light novels just started taking over anime. Going, hey, we have all these light novels because we keep adapting manga. We can just adapt the light novels. This one's
Mistake.
yeah. So this one is about Kazuma, who is a contractor, which is a fun way of saying I use magic, but I have no limitations because I'm a main character, or not main character, but
He has limitations, I think. Maybe. I don't know.
Kazuma's big power is, or the big thing for him was, he is a part of a big fire magic user family,
The Kanagi family.
but he can't use fire magic.
He cannot use Enjutsu, which has the power to control flames.
He instead got his butt kicked by his cousin, who was like 4 years or
12 years old at the time.
Yeah.
He was 16 and was shunned from the family for losing.
And exiled.
And he wasn't exiled. He just ran away after being shunned by the family. He ran away, and 4 years later comes back as a 20-year-old with wind magic,
Fujitsu.
which
Is looked down on by the rest of his family as lesser, weaker magic.
well,
And he also-
magic
Everybody,
is.
yeah.
He also changed his last name to Yagami as opposed to Kaneki.
Because he does
Because he didn't want to be associated with them anymore.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
He doesn't want to be part of his family anymore. He's super edgelord.
He's not edgy. He's just smug. Like, he's really smug, and he deserves to be because he's so powerful.
This is true.
The opening crawl is the most edgiest fucking monologue I've ever read.
Crawling in my skin is edgier than that.
Every Linkin Park song is edgier than anything.
This is true.
All right, so our first impressions of this anime. So I'm gonna say, like, by episode 5, how are we feeling about this?
Oh. Let's go with the first couple episodes,
Okay.
all right?
Okay.
So we boarded the train. The train keeps going, and then they start playing Hey Ya. Like, oh, this is a pretty good song. Hey Ya ends, and then immediately Hey Ya starts playing again. And you think to yourself, I might be on the wrong train.
Yeah. You start to think to yourself, huh, that's weird.
It's
And
weird.
then they
I thought I
played
would
a
heard that song
third
before.
time,
And then
and
once
you're
the third
like,
time comes up, you
Oh,
realize
no. I got on the wrong train.
I got on the wrong train.
For me, it was really, I was already like negative on this from episode 1. Like, as soon as the opening credits sprawl started, I was like, oh no, I've seen this anime before.
That's where I come in. I never watch the openings or endings because I just don't feel like it, especially if they're really old series.
I mean, it does save you a lot of time in
It does.
watching it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, even the first 5 minutes after the opening, I literally watched it and went, oh, I've seen this before. I've seen this done better. Why did they use the fucking same? Why does this guy have the name Kazuma? All the other Kazumas I've ever seen have been very good, like, exciting characters for me to watch, and this guy is just smug asshole.
Worst deal ever.
But my first impression was like, okay, this is interesting. Like, the world seemed pretty, like, the world was acceptable because it's set in more of a modern, like, time for 2007.
I mean, it was kind of modern, but it still had the weird, like,
It still had some of the
family
more
tradition
traditional,
stuff.
yeah,
And then
Japanese
it also has
feelings.
technology that we don't think ever would exist in a normal.
like magic.
Yeah. But first
not-
introductions, with the exception of Kazuma, the characters they all seemed different, which was nice. Like, nobody seemed too underdone, except for Kazuma. At first impression,
At
Matt,
first
all right?
impressions, when we get a little bit deeper.
So my first impressions were it kind of looks like a cut and paste shonen, and I mean it probably could have been in Shonen Jump, and people would have read it off as like, oh, it's probably just something that's here just to pad out the volumes a little bit in between hiatuses.
Yeah, I can see that.
But
or just in between Naruto and Bleach and One Piece.
they're on hiatuses all the time. That's what fillers are. But it started off pretty interesting. Like, I like Kazuma. I thought he was really cool. He's the only reason why I kept watching it. And also, watch the English dub over the Japanese dub.
Oh,
It's-
for sure.
It's probably better. Like, no, it is
What?
better.
Did you watch Japanese too?
Okay, so the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, 9th, 12th, 17th, and then all the way to the end, I watched in English. The rest I watched in Japanese because I wanted to keep switching back and forth to see
Oh, okay.
how
Oh,
much it
okay.
changes.
I was
Interesting.
actually going to try to watch, like, until we finished it, and I had a feeling that I never wanted to watch it again.
No.
I was going to rewatch it in Japanese just to see how the voices were, but, like, by the end of it, I was like, I don't think
No,
The
definitely not.
English made it funnier simply because none of it translated well, especially when talking about that they're cousins. That came through the
Yeah.
English a little bit weirder.
It did.
Now we're going to discuss all the plot of this anime.
This plot, okay, so the plot is very disjointed. That was one of the issues I had.
That is probably the biggest issue I have with this.
The
entire
arcs
anime.
were, and they were arcs because they lasted for at least 3 or 4 episodes, which isn't an arc
Well-
standard.
One lasted way longer than that.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we have 5 different arcs
Yeah.
written down here.
And one of those arcs is one episode, and one of those arcs is the entire latter half of the series.
Yeah, so like a whole third of the series is devoted to the last arc. Is it half,
but-
really?
Episode 14 was the hot spring.
Word. That's ridiculous.
But there is actually a centralized plot that revolves around Kazuma. So it's not like super disjointed. It's just the journey to get there constantly jumps off the rails and
Yeah, it
like,
does.
we're going to do something
yeah.
else.
Yeah.
That also said, like, Kazuma is not the main character.
No, Ayano is the main character.
Ayano is the main character.
Ayano, the person that I just thought was the love interest but as Rob points out, she's on screen first. She's the Kanagi heir. She has the Enraiha, which is a magical sword. She can summon out of God knows where with a really cheaply made transformation sequence that I wish looked better because...
And I wish that they changed up. Like, every time she summoned in Raiha, it was literally the exact same sequence.
It was these...
That's how all seiyus are, aren't they? They all transform the same way. They just take forever, and they're always the same. They're never different.
It would have been okay. Like, me and Matt talked about this when we were, like halfway through. Like, it would have been okay if the animation was done better. So, like, this is something that continuously comes up.
Hey, Rob, so you've watched Kill la Kill. I know you've watched Kill la Kill.
I have watched Kill la Kill, yes.
How many times did they go through the full transformation sequence every time?
They condensed it on some occasions, but
Sometimes.
they did go through
Sometimes
all
it's
of
just
it.
flash. Oh, I'm in the gear now because we need to go into the action.
But then again, who would want to miss out on that transformation?
So that
I
said,
mean,
like,
nobody does.
the summoning isn't that long. It's only like a few seconds.
No, it's just her yelling in Raiho and then pulling the sword out and it catches on fire.
Yeah. But I feel like they could have, like, if they knew that they were going to be doing this so many times, I feel like they could have put more effort into that animation sequence.
I mean, we'll get on to how much effort they put into animation
Yeah.
in a little bit.
But the first arc is dealing with the Wind Clan.
So the first arc is Kazuma shows up. Hey, he's a wind user. All of a sudden, a bunch of Kanagi people keep dying to to somebody using wind powers.
Huh.
Prime
Wonder
detective
who it
work
could
here.
be.
Prime detective work. It's obviously the new wind user that came into town.
It's
and not,
obviously the person that we don't like.
yeah, and not the clan that we are literally treating like second-class citizens because
Yeah, not the Wind Clan that we're abusing.
yeah. So surprise, it's not Kazuma because why the fuck would we introduce a character who seems to be central to the plot just to go, ha, and he's the villain because he doesn't look like a villain or act like a villain at all.
That would make too interesting of a plot.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we had
it
to
would.
dumb it down to a person that we've never seen and gets maybe, about 10 minutes of screen time until
then
he transforms and then gets
Transforms
no
into
more
a demon.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then dies. And then
And then probably dies.
literally I think the entire Wind Clan dies.
Not the entire
I don't
Wind
think they
Clan.
died.
It's just, they kind of got destroyed by the Yoma,
Yeah.
like really badly because wind magic can cut things in half. and
And somehow some characters can get steel bars dropped on them and they are dead. But when a building falls on a main character and they can walk out just fine, and you're like,
Kenshiro broke a building and walked through the same building that was falling on top of him.
but that's Kenshiro.
Yeah.
Like, this is little girl that is in high school gets a building dropped on her and comes out of it comically like, God damn it, this building fell on me. Meanwhile, adult men who are masters of their spellcraft get a steel girder dropped on them are now dead.
Fire won't stop the girder from crushing you because, as we all know, fire doesn't melt steel beams.
And Bender, please
why?
insert girder.
Yes.
Okay.
So anyway, with the wind arc, it's basically a guy named Ryuya who was kind of shunned, because he was something weird. I don't remember much about him.
No, it was he's the son of the head of the Wind Clan.
Yeah.
Like the Wind Clan worshipped the demon and and that's how they got their magic abilities.
But the problem is that they want to release the demon that was sealed by the Kanagi clan, but they can't do that unless they have an heir to the Kanagi clan actually remove the seal. So they need a catalyst. Who do you think they're going to use for the catalyst?
They use Kazuma's younger brother,
Yep.
Surprise.
who looks nothing like Kazuma nor his father.
Yep.
Ayano has
no-
pink hair. That's a recessive trait. How?
He also has different eye color.
The show has many irregularities when it comes to the kids.
There's a lot of
So
inconsistencies
the reason
across
why
the
they
show.
did the hair color is Kazuma has brown hair. His brother, whose name I am now forgetting completely,
Ren Kanagi.
Ren has yellow hair, and
The main character has pink hair. Spoilers.
why would they do that? Oh, because now we can identify them by their hair color.
Weird.
Because that way we don't have to draw very different character designs for them. It's like, hey, you see the blonde one?
Yeah, what's the meme? Spot the anime character?
Spot the anime character.
Yeah.
I mean,
It was real obvious who the important people were in the show the entire time.
Cosmo's hair is brown. That's not important. That's just brown hair.
yeah, but look at the clothes he's wearing. Look at his
And his, smug.
and his smug
stance.
aura
I don't-
literally just coming out of everywhere.
I think we saw his hands leave his pockets only a handful of times.
Only a handful of times, and that's a hand joke.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And most
he,
of those
he
was-
only brings the hands out to throw the wind. Otherwise, he has
Or
his
to
hands in his
eat.
pocket. Or to eat.
or to like
Or to pat her in the butt.
yeah, or
Yeah.
to pat her in the butt, or to like do something obscene, or he doesn't really take his hands out of his pockets because that's how cool people do.
You
This is
fight with
true.
your hands in your pocket and you use kicks. Nothing but kicks.
Nothing but kicks.
Nothing but kicks.
Look at Sanji. Works for him.
Look at Sanji.
Sanji gets his hands out when he wants to do the fucking handstand leg twist. Or
This is
something.
true.
Can't use
But
a
that's why
rider kick
Sanji's
with
the
your
coolest
hands.
character.
I mean, Sanji is one of the coolest characters.
All right, so going
Yep.
back.
Yeah.
Going back.
Going back.
Don't
The-
get me started on
Yeah,
One
we-
Piece.
So pretty much the fight between the demon, which by the way, Ryuya turns into a demon, and then proceeds to destroy the people around him, except for Kazuma, Ayano, and Ren. Gee, I wonder why. Could it be because they're important? I don't know. So pretty much the fight, there's this weird feeling on the line where it's like, hey, someone could die at any moment. Oh God! And before I even jump to this, so something happens to Ayano where she gets hit with some kind of weird infection doodad that's gonna kill her, and like Kazuma has this elixir that he can use, and like the entire time I was thinking like, man, you could become the main character, just don't give her the elixir. But Ren is like, no, you can't let her die. Don't
Ren
do
is
that.
the moral compass of the show.
Ren has all the morality.
But Kazuma wasn't gonna let her die, like not in the least bit. So he's like going on with it, and she's like, okay, fine, I'll bring you back.
Sweet, I'll bring you back with his elixir, which apparently is impossible to find and costs so much money that Kazuma will never find one again.
Nope.
Because now we don't have a way to bring anybody back from any kind of grievous wound that could possibly kill them. Like somebody that happens later in the anime that we could have saved with this elixir.
Because plot.
Yeah.
Because we can't kill the main character. So
During the fight,
during the fight, which I'll get into the fight.
we will get into the fight in a minute. But during the fight, it's pretty much Ayano versus the demon because they have no feasible way of actually defeating it.
Yeah.
So Kazuma's like, you know what? Hold him off. I'm gonna do something real quick. Like I'm just gonna stand here and do something real fast.
So the first three episodes, you're left with this intro of him with like bright blue eyes talking about the contract with this guy. You get the whole monologue that we cited at the beginning, and we never see it up until like the end of episode 4 when he finally decides to like
when he finally shows his true power.
yeah.
I'm gonna whip out the trump card.
Even though we know he's the contractor, and they go, "Hey, I heard that there's a new wind contractor. Is that you?"
Nah.
you don't
Yeah,
have blue
possibly maybe.
eyes. You don't have blue eyes.
Yeah.
Hold
What are
on,
you
hold
talking
on. Let's
about?
look at this intro again. You're
Yep,
a voice
yep,
actor.
that's you.
That is you. You
Yeah.
are saying you are the contractor.
Yep.
I
There's
want-
some blue eyes. I see them.
Why are you trying to hide this from us? It's like we don't watch the intro.
But basically,
I don't
like
watch the intro.
he activates his contract and then becomes stronger than literally everything else in the show.
Yep.
This is the Deus Ex Machina of the show.
Yep.
Is Kazuma is a contractor, which means he is directly linked to the Spirit King of the Winds, which is a terrible name to say, but
It really
is. He has complete control over the wind.
Yep.
And is just like God power mode for like 5 minutes.
Pretty much.
So then we go to the second arc, which we are introduced to Misao.
So this one actually has a transition, which is nice. So Misao is the sister of one of the people who dies in the first episode.
Yes.
And Kazuma just straight up goes, I killed your brother. Well, what are you going to do about it?
Oh no, he didn't say I killed your brother. He goes, your brother died because he was weak.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a normal anime thing of strong characters to do is...
No, Kazuma says he died because of me.
Well, he died because of me because he was there, but he also is...
Because he was weak.
Because he was weak.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this guy just had a steel frame dropped on him, and unlike
dies.
other main characters, he dies.
Yeah. So she gets upset and is like, "Well, I'm gonna try and kill you." So she tries to stab him like in like a tea ceremony or like a lunch or whatever.
Yep.
Obviously throws giant disrespect. They decide to like try and handle her, whatever. She runs away.
Yep.
Finds this what she calls her a guardian angel. I believe Gabriel is the name thrown out. Maybe.
No, it's Metatron.
Metatron.
Metatron. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Totally wrong.
Metatron, the scribe of heaven.
Scribe of heaven. Well, scribe of God.
And he says,
Yeah.
"Hey, do you want to be stronger? Here's what you gotta do, and absorb the life force of like thousands of people with slime." So then people are like showing up like completely like sucked bone dry. So this is what they get introduced, like, "Hey, this weird thing's happening. We need the clan to investigate." And they're like, "Hey, Kazuma, can you help us out with this?"
And then we find out that it's Misao doing it.
Yep.
And her family goes, "Since it's our daughter, we're not going to have you do this anymore. We're going to hire the police," which they have a special task force for dealing with magic users. Why is the Kanagi family not part of this task force?
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. So like the Kanagi family is like, their big thing is that they help get rid of spirits, and then there's a special police task force in addition to the family. And you're like, "So you both do the same thing. You work with each other."
The family doesn't want to get their hands
but the
dirty.
family isn't involved, but
Family
they
doesn't
are.
want to get their hands dirty.
I mean,
It's weird.
It's how mafias are. They send the cleanup crew. That's who the police are. They don't want to do anything.
but so the family goes, "Kazuma, you can't do this. We will deal with her." So family meets up with Misao, and surprise, Misao kills all of them.
Surprise.
And Kazuma comes in, saves the day, purify.
Whoa,
and
whoa,
we,
whoa.
Oh no, whoa!
First off,
Yeah.
she turns into a freaking dragon.
Yes. No,
A.
a dragon comes out of her.
Oh,
She
yes.
does not turn into
Oh,
the dragon.
I think it was Michael, not Metatron. I don't know.
Michael.
It was. He doesn't get named very much.
No, she references to him as his angel.
Yeah,
Oh no
as-
no no no! Metatron's with Catherine. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's Michael. It's Michael. He hires a sniper too.
Oh, that was actually the cool part, was when she literally hires a whole crew of
hitmen.
to shoot him down in an alley when she's like dressing up all nice to take him to a love hotel, and then she gets him shot up, and it's like, you actually did a smart one there.
But did Kazuma actually say he killed her brother?
No, he said
No, he said he was the reason that her brother died.
yeah.
Well, no, it's pretty much because her brother started it, and
No,
Kazuma's trying to defend
Her
himself.
brother was the other one. Her brother was the one that was
Takea.
the one that was going, "I'm gonna kill Kazuma," was the brother of the other dude that died, the blonde dude that was in the mansion with them. The other one was the one that was like, "We need to the clan wants him to come with us," and he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna kill this guy," and he's like,
Don't tase me, bro.
"Okay, bro," but they both die because of Ryuma. Ryuma is the actual reason that they die, but everybody thinks it's Kazuma because they were going to meet
That's
Kazuma.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryu is bad. He did. A lot.
Yeah, he did a lot of he did. a lot of that.
So she spits out a dragon, they purify it. Was that when? No, they don't use the purifying flame there. Remember how
They do.
they do?
Yeah.
So they purify it with purifying flame.
Which is supposed to be like this super hard technique to use. Ayano is never conscious when she uses it.
Yep.
Like she never recognizes it.
Yep.
And then Ren actually knows how to use it. And he's in like middle school.
This is why Ren should have the
Yes.
Raiho, not
I mean, this is why
Not
everybody
Ayano.
but Ayano should have in Raiha.
Yeah.
Is everybody but Ayano knows how to use
She's
that fucking
actually
magic.
she's probably the most incompetent character in the show.
She feels like comic relief as a main character, and
I mean, she is.
And I think the show was engineered specifically for the side character. Like, if they would have pawned it off as like, this is a deconstruction of a shonen where the main character is actually terrible and the side characters are what matters, that would make the most sense to me.
If they had written it that way, yeah, that actually might have been a much more enjoyable
Yeah.
series.
But the writer wrote it. Well, also we're skipping over a fact that the books and the manga are written in a very darker
A
tone.
much darker tone, yeah.
So a lot of this stuff that we are seeing in the anime is very different in the manga in tone, and so the tonal dissonance is one of the problems with this anime. Is they're doing happy-go-lucky stuff, but they're talking about death and all this crazy stuff, but it never really gets dark. But in the manga and the light novels, apparently, it gets dark.
Bad things are happening. What should we do? Let's go on a side quest.
Yeah, right?
That makes more sense, doesn't it?
Much more.
So
But ultimately, they deal with the dragon.
they deal with the dragon, and Misao decides, because she's not a main character, I'm going to go become a monk, and I'm never seen from again.
Yep. Which is unfortunate.
Because every character that's not a main character that gets introduced for just an arc never sticks through to the next arc.
The exception of one person.
Although,
And then we learn more about him later.
Although he has to be tsundere about it and always go, if you want me to help, you gotta
this
pay
is
me.
this is two tsunderes, Ayano and Kazuma, together.
Yeah.
And it does not work.
No, it doesn't at all.
But the show wants us to force them together.
Oh, it is so obvious. Ayano's grandfather continuously sends them on dates. In the later half, in between arcs.
He's the true bro.
There's two in particular that we're going to talk about.
All right. So next is my favorite arc.
So the episode once they finally village to the dragon actually is the school episode.
This is one that I'm going to talk about a lot.
So this is where you first we get the foundation for how things are going to go between Ayano and Kazuma for the rest of the series. Ayano is actually sent to deal with things, and Kazuma is there to protect her.
Yes. This arc, the one we are now going into, I have written as Earth Clan with Clone Girl.
Oh my word.
I am going to first state the first episode of this introduces us to two new characters that are central to Ren's friends. There's a female one and a male one. The female one is in love with Ren. The male one just wants to be friends with Ren. They are in contention with each other because one wants to do things that couples want to do. The other one wants to do things friends want to do. I've never heard of people having this kind of relationship. And I told this to Henry, and he gave me a look of like, that's not how people act. I'm like,
no, not at all.
But after we are introduced to this female character, he somehow gets away from her for some weird reason because he's awkward teenage boy. And he doesn't know how to deal with his feelings.
I mean, it was pretty late in the night. I think he was
so
heading
this
home.
is the one time that Ren actually causes a problem.
Yeah,
and
he causes a fight.
Oh yeah, and he meets
That's
a character who looks almost identical except for a slight hair color change.
Oh
from
my
that
word,
character.
it was so confusing.
I watched the episode. I thought they were the same character for so long, and then
We had to rewatch that scene.
Yeah, we had to rewatch I watched the
entire
episode twice.
Yeah.
I thought I was so confused. The pacing was bad, and the character designs were too similar. If you disagree with me, you can post in the comments or anything and be like, "Hey, I don't agree with what you're saying," but like episode felt very off when it did that, and I got completely lost as to where we were.
Yeah. So the girl we were talking about is Ayumi.
Yes,
She's a clone of Mayumi.
She's a clone of Mayumi.
Yep.
We ultimately learned that she's a clone of Mayumi.
So he meets her. She seems to just be like having fun in a park, and they start to have fun and be friends and be nice, and like he's
hanging out at
he's developing some kind of feelings for her after one night.
Super late at night.
And then all of a sudden, guys in suits with glasses and guns show up and go, we're taking girl away. To which, of course,
Ren being the moral compass of the whole show.
Goes,
I have to protect this thing. I have to protect it.
Yeah. I shoot fire at people.
And at which point they go, hey, we're from this family.
Hey, we work with the Suwabaki family.
Yeah.
You started a war.
If you continue to interfere, we're gonna declare war on your family. And he says, so he like acts like he like understands and like starts to walk away, and then to which point he eventually like stops and like puts up a wall of flame around her and telling them to just back off.
Yep.
Just back away.
And then afterwards, they bring in actual magic users from the family, which the family is the Earth Clan, so they use Earth
eventually. What we find out is that we start to learn that she's lived a very sheltered life.
Yep.
That she isn't treated well.
Yep.
And all she wants to do is to experience the world and see something beautiful. So Ren decides to take her to the beach.
Yep.
And also, this is the A story of this arc. There's a
Yes.
B story.
Oh, I don't remember the B story. I don't remember
The B story
the B
involves
story is
Kazuma talking
Kazuma-
to Tiana's tribe to retrieve the pixie heirloom stolen by the
Yeah,
Tsubaki
Right, the
family.
pixie.
Because that's what I was trying to get into is right after the thing with the dragon, we go to an episode where at the school we learned about the pixies.
Oh, fuck.
And we meet one pixie in particular. The name escapes me, but she appears throughout the entire next arc as plot B.
And then never comes back, and I
And then never
actually
comes
like
back.
that character.
Yeah. She was funny.
Tiana is the name of the
Tiana,
pixie.
there it is.
Okay, Tiana. Yeah, I like.
She actually pops up in front of Yukari and Inase when Ayano was sent to Hitotama to investigate the Earth Clan. You know, so technically you can consider, since Ayano was the one that initiated the pixie thing, it's actually the A story, but
Yeah, no,
A story
by
than
far.
Ayumi and Ren.
Yeah, Ren's story is
Ren's
way
story is
better.
way better.
It's probably it's probably my favorite arc in this entire show.
Except for the complete loss of like, what the fuck? Who is this character?
Yeah.
That was the only
But
problem.
we get to the beach and she's like, "Wow, this is like the most beautiful thing. Like, thanks, Ren, for doing this for me."
I wish I could see it during the.
But I
during
have a
the
secret
day.
to tell you, Ren.
No, she
No,
doesn't
she
tell
never
her
tells
the
him.
secret. Mayumi and her bodyguard show up. I forget her bodyguard's name. Fuma?
No, Ayumi was the one that revealed it to him.
Oh, was it Ayumi?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Ayumi reveals that she is actually a clone made to be sacrificed to Mount Fuji to stop a demon from coming out. Right? I'm right on that, right?
Yes. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The whole point for the Suabakis is that every 20 no, like
No,
it's like some
200
crazy.
years.
It's a
No, it's not.
long time.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, like
It's yeah. If this incredible distance, they sacrifice one of their family members to keep the demon in Mount Fuji from erupting,
Yep.
from escaping, basically.
because their clan's whole philosophy is anything
Self-sacrifice.
Yeah, self-sacrifice. So if I can sacrifice myself to save this thing, I will do it.
I will do it. So Ren has a fight on the beach.
Yep. With a earth user, and we find out that as long as a person's on the ground, earth users are more powerful than them because
Yep.
I'm an earthbender, you're not.
You're not escaping me.
Yeah.
And then we see like how crazy Ren actually is. Like Ren is most powerful. He's not the most
He's
powerful.
not
He's
the
the
most-
most destructive when he gets angry.
Yes. And
Which is actually a trait they say like the flames are very much fueled by anger.
yeah.
Anger.
And he also just figures out a way to beat the earth user
Yep.
on the ground by turning the sand underneath him into glass. Because guess
I'm
what?
not standing on ground, am I?
Nope. After that, Mayumi shows up. They go, or Mayumi and Ayako show up,
Yep.
and Ayako goes, "You're not doing this anymore," and they take Mayumi away. God, saying Ayumi and Mayumi is really
It is kind of confusing a little.
it's really confusing. I actually think I got their names wrong. But they take the girl away. He's like, "But why'd you do that?" And then she's like, "Because you're gonna start a war." And then he somehow convinces her not to do it. I don't remember the exact dialogue or reason how he convinces her to let him go. And so then they both go to save Ayumi after giving her away to the people that were taking her.
Ayano,
Yeah.
Kazuma, and Ren. Ren is like really
Well,
pleading
Kazuma's not part of this at all. Kazuma's
Oh,
doing
that's
his
right.
own thing, trying to get the
pixie crown.
pixie crown.
Yep.
Yeah. So it just becomes a Ren and Ayano thing, and Kazuma's not here because he's off having fun.
We also find out that Kazuma goes, "I'm going to wait," because he knows the Earth Clan has it. He goes, "I'm gonna wait till they are busy with their thing, and when they're just about ready to do everything, I'm gonna interrupt everything and take
So
what I want."
We kind of learn how much of a dick he is
I mean,
in that just in that one
yeah,
scene.
he literally goes, "I've never fought a guy from the Earth Clan. I want to fight people from the Earth."
He makes sense.
Yeah, like when he first realizes that the Earth Clan has it, he goes, "Ooh, I've been wanting to fight those guys forever." And he's like uses this as a chance to
Yeah.
go in and just fight everybody.
Yeah. So, like, we're finding out that Kazuma is pretty much being a dick now. And then we get
Yep.
introduced to our villain, who is not Mayumi, not Ayumi. I forget her name. What is her name? Member of the Earth Clan, but she doesn't use Earth magic, which is weird. I forget her name.
It wasn't very important.
Synopsis.
No.
No.
But she looks like Lust.
The whole
from
point is
Fullmetal
that-
Alchemist.
The whole point is that the demon in the mountain has been manipulating her the entire time.
Yep.
She can never use earth magic because the demon was withholding it from her.
Yep. She wants to get her earth magic back, so she wants to use she's going to use the power of the demon instead of using earth magic. But the demon's been using her the entire time to release it, because if it gets released,
Destroys.
I
the
destroy
country.
everything.
Yeah.
So she's literally like, she's put the head of the Earth Clan into a rock. She's doing
Yeah,
all
she
this
infuses
stuff.
him into a boulder.
She's doing all this kind of stuff to fuck with everything.
She's the captain now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is now the head of the family, even though she's not actually the head of the family.
Yep.
I mean, let's go to Mount Fuji, right?
Yeah, we go to Mount
Yeah.
Fuji. We find Mayumi she talks to Mayumi and is like, hey, so actually we're going to need some of your power too, and traps Mayumi in the crystal
Just in case.
just in case
Just in
Ayumi
case.
doesn't work.
Yep. Because
Um,
Ayumi is brand new, so it turns out this is the first time, and the reason they're doing this is for her to steal the power.
Yep.
Before then, they just straight like, your name was chosen, sucks to be you.
Yeah, throw you into the volcano.
Yep.
Pretty much.
But they specifically made Ayumi as a clone of Mayumi to sacrifice, because I believe Mayumi was supposed to be sacrificed, but
Yeah.
but they made a clone of her instead.
Yeah, because Mayumi didn't want to die randomly. And,
Yep.
the villain used that against her and was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
well, we can clone you."
Ultimately, we learned that Ayumi, part of the process used to make her was the pixie's egg.
Yep. And that because she's a clone, she doesn't live very long.
No,
She only
a month.
has like a month left.
Yeah.
The behemoth.
So, yeah, behemoth. So of course villain releases giant monster. Giant monster takes away all its power that's been giving her. She finds out that she can actually use earth magic. She tries to get back at demon. Demon kills her.
Yep.
Oops.
Surprise.
And then we're down to it is Kazuma, it is Ayano, and it is Ren, and we
Yep.
have to fight giant demon
Yep.
because we ain't gonna steal
And
this
this
thing back.
and this is when we get the power trio for the first time.
This trio
Well, no,
right
I guess
here.
like the last arc we saw a little bit of it, but this is where we really see it.
This is where it sticks and why it remains until the end.
Yep.
Yep.
The three of them combined, no demon, no matter how powerful, can ever stop them. Because it's two of the strongest fire magic users and a contractor of wind magic.
Yep.
Combined together.
And the best part is like they are fighting on molten area.
It's
So-
also red, blue, and yellow.
Because
Because Ren's
Ren's
mostly using
fire
the
is
purifying
always-
fire, which
is
is
yellow.
primarily yellow based. It's more yellow based instead of red based.
Whoa.
And Iona is red based because she has actual
Pretty
fire
good.
and pink hair.
yep,
And then Kazuma is blue because he is the wind.
weird primary
primary
colors.
colors
Uh,
to signify the team.
Yeah, weird. It's like Power Rangers never did that before.
Man, they pounded together. They destroyed the behemoth, but
Yeah.
because Ayumi had to help so much, she ran out of power.
Ran out of life force.
And she looked at Ren and said, "You're gonna be a virgin forever, bro. I'm sorry." And
I'm
then
sorry,
disappeared.
bro.
And also to make another thing to point out another thing, this was the one where we saw somebody do rocket hands, and you freaked out, right?
Oh my god. So, like, before the mountain thing, like, the person that Ren fights on the beach eventually transforms into an earth golem, right? He sacrifices his normal
Yep.
body to transform into an earth golem to help make sure the ceremony, like, because they
Yeah,
know that
to
they're
deal
coming
with,
back.
to deal with Kazuma and Ren
Yeah.
because they know that they're going to show up because they're the superheroes.
So he's an earthbender basically made of earth now.
Yep.
So he sends his rocket, so he basically rocket arms, like rocket punches into Ren.
Oh no, I was talking about the Iron Man thing that Ren does with the fire, where he flies with the fucking fire for a little bit. And you were
Yeah.
like,
Oh my god, yes. No, that too. But no, one of the things that gets me was like underground, like makes his fit,
Oh,
like
yeah,
hand,
yeah, yeah.
grabs Ren, brings him to him,
and then fuses with his arm.
and then fuses the arm to the dude. Like so, like his arm like disappears, and then what arm is holding Ren just attaches itself to it. And I was like, what was the point of that?
Why did you do that? You could have
Because the golem doesn't have to move.
It was
But the golem didn't have to move to grab him.
yeah. He
The
literally could have
hand
just
came out of the
extended.
ground.
Yeah. No,
magic
that
is
was
true.
that's where I wanted it to happen, but it
Oh.
didn't. He literally just reached in and grabbed
Oh,
Ren,
yeah,
and then the hand
yeah.
just disintegrated.
Yeah. Oh, that's the
Use
problem.
arm. He literally walks over to the arm, grabs Ren, and then starts crushing him. Like, but you grabbed him with the rock
But
arm.
before we saw him like reform himself in the same way, it was like you literally could have just like let your arm let it like meld into your arm. Like that would have been
come
way
on, man,
better.
it's just the guy wants to show off his stuff.
Oh,
Like we have to see how good the Earth Clan is because we're never gonna
no,
see them
we'll
again.
we'll get into it later. Like there were some animation choices that they could
Oh,
have
boy.
made.
Oh man, I can't wait to talk about this.
So
animation.
we just defeated a behemoth at Mount Fuji.
Yep.
They'll set us up on a date in an amusement park.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
And guess what? For some reason, there's tons. We get to find out Ayano's best.
No,
trait.
no.
Oh,
No, what we haven't discussed, and it is a great detriment to this anime.
that they don't talk about her friends ever.
Friend A and friend B.
Yukari and Nanase.
Yukari and
Yukari
Inase.
They
So-
were actually
These are
helping
the-
along with the pixie thing because
They are my favorite characters in the entire show.
They are really good characters because they don't do magic.
They're just normal people.
They're just normal people. They're just normal friends of
Ayano.
Ayano. I keep forgetting her name. The best part about these two characters is Ayano tells them all this crazy shit, magic shit she's doing. They're just like,
Yeah.
yeah,
pretty cool.
pretty cool.
But the whole time in the background, they're commenting on Ayano and Kazuma in their relationship
Oh yeah,
that they don't have.
that like we're sitting there like, where are you? And they're just like,
It's great.
it's like watching fan fiction artists do their thing.
You know that Yukari and Nanase have like major connections in Japan. Like they have wide connections.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's-
like you can't hide anything from them.
No, and so this.
No, they make a point of that. Who's the one with the blonde hair? It's not
It's Nanase.
No.
Nanase.
Wait.
Oh no,
what are
we're
you
talking about Police Girl, right?
No, her friend.
Yeah,
Her friend,
Nanase.
Nanase. I believe
Yeah.
it's Nanase with the other.
Yeah, like she can find dirt on literally anything. Like
Yeah.
she can literally find anything.
And so those two are sneakily like observing the date because they're friends, and that's
Because
what
they
friends do
want
in
to see
Japan.
them on their first dates
Yeah.
and not interfere.
Yeah. And so on their first date, we find out Ayumi's or fuck.
Ayano.
Ayano. I hate all these names. These names are really hard to remember because there's a lot of similar ones.
Yeah, there are.
Ayano has a character trait that we've not really interacted with that much. She doesn't like guys being pervy at all.
No.
So first thing we see is a very egregious one. A dude coming out. We see three. The first one is a dude coming out of the girl's bathroom with recording gear, beats the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Next one was the dudes hitting on the girls, right? And
Well, I wouldn't say like. Yeah, they're being aggressive.
They were being aggressively creepy on
Yeah,
the girls.
like pinning them to a tree
Yeah.
basically with their body, like
Yeah,
make
and
sure they
so
couldn't leave,
So she goes.
and beats the shit out
Yeah,
of
she
them.
goes beats the shit out of them. And then was the last one when Kazuma was just looking at the videotape from the dude that she beat up the first time, or was there a actual third one?
No, it was just the videotape.
Yeah, so Kazuma is then looking at the pervy videotape and going, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And
Interesting.
she tries to kick him because she doesn't like anybody being perverted around her, which is a character trait every anime girl has.
Yeah. This is also we see like the small conflict of like Ayano likes Kazuma, but she doesn't want to like admit to it.
Henry, welcome to every tsundere. Anyways, so it's honestly just a character building arc. We get to see Ren with his two friends.
You say arc, it's an episode.
Fine.
Hey, you forget that we get to see the best character, an American fire user.
That's the
Yes,
next episode.
this is the next arc. Yeah.
the next arc, which I just have as Catherine intro because
Catherine McDonald.
Catherine McDonald.
Catherine McDouble.
So I'm just gonna say this. Besides Kazuma, this is the only name I can remember because it's an English name, first of all,
Yep.
and nobody has a name similar to Catherine.
No, not at all. No, it is. She is blatantly American.
Oh my god, she is such a I agree with Rob. She is a really good character. When she first got introduced and she was like, "I'm going to take something that they have," I thought she was linked to his background,
I thought so too, which I thought was going to be interesting.
but then it was just no. She wants a
she wants Enraiha.
So
Because
Because
no
in
one
America,
outside of the Kanagi family can have it.
yeah,
Yep.
Because in America, her family is the most powerful fire
Fire magic users.
magic
But they don't have anything special.
But they don't have any. But they don't have in Raiha,
Nope. They,
which only goes to the most powerful fire mage family in the world, I guess.
Yep. And she and her family deals with spirits. They summon spirits. So she summons a giant buff angel dude that confused the hell out of him.
Metatron.
When we were looking at
Oh yeah, because like
thumbnails.
we go through thumbnails, and we're like, okay, and then there's just like this like Gabriel-esque angel with wings, and I'm like, what in the world is in a sword, and I'm like, what in the world is going on? What are we going to get into?
Yeah. So she challenges Ayano when she's on a date with Kazuma at a very fancy restaurant. They get into a big fight, destroy the restaurant because of course they did, and they call it a draw, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, she managed to defeat Metatron.
Yeah.
But never defeats Catherine officially, so they decide to call it a draw.
And then Catherine decides, I'm gonna runs into Kazuma and goes, would you help me get stronger or whatever? Or he starts criticizing her like, you'll never be able to beat her like that. And then she's like, well, would you teach me? He's like, well, if you pay me.
Yeah, and then we get the hints that like Kazuma will do anything for the right price. And this is where it really solidifies that he will screw over anybody for the right price.
Basically.
Yep.
But
Male character, and it's a male character, and the male character already has somebody that likes him.
And Ayano gets super upset when she learns about this.
I never would have guessed that there would be love rivals in this anime.
Yeah. No, she gets super upset when she learns that Kazuma is teaching Catherine how to beat her.
Uh-huh.
And then she gets super jealous when she learns that Catherine likes Kazuma.
Oh, yeah. And it's really... And so we get to the fight, and they're fighting, and all of a sudden Catherine starts doing stuff that she's never done. And it's like...
But the fight was preceded by an agreement to
Oh, yeah.
If I win, I get to share the pow poo with Kazuma. And if you win, I will leave.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, every other time we've had an arc centered around a tertiary character, they've never been in another arc.
No, true.
So we're like, so she'll go away afterwards. So they could do a fight. She starts taunting Ayano after she starts getting ahead because she starts using the stuff that Kazuma taught her. And Ayano starts getting real mad. Ayano then just beats her. Straight up. And she's like, but I was taught by Kazuma. And Kazuma's like, yeah, I never told you to taunt her. She's really good when she gets taunted. And so Catherine makes a bullshit reason as to why she doesn't actually go back to America. And we now have another character.
Yeah. But then Catherine stays anyway.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Is like Catherine makes up a bullshit reason as to why she doesn't have to go now, and so
it turns out she has a bullshit excuse, and then she eventually becomes part of the police force.
Well, I mean, that happens in the later.
Yeah, a little bit later.
We've literally only got another 9 episodes.
Yep, because one episode is, I think, actually my favorite episode too.
The hot spring episode.
Yes. So. We haven't really discussed it, but Kazuma and his dad have problems.
Yes. So his dad obviously is the one that like shunned Kazuma, and Kazuma has had anger, like hatred issues towards his father ever since.
In the 3rd episode, they had a slight confrontation where Kazuma ended up beating his dad.
Yep.
His dad has been in the hospital for a lot of this time, recuperating from the loss. So now we're going to the hot spring, which Ayano's dad sneakily gave the tickets to Ayumi and Nase to take those to the hot spring. So they are all going to the hot spring
with Ren, of course.
And of course, why not with Ren?
Because of course.
Because of course.
Ren gets to see bare shoulders, like.
Oh. They're all going there, and we find out that his dad's also going to the hot spring.
Yep.
Nothing bad could happen from those two being in the same hot spring together, right?
Every time that Genma and Kazuma have ended up anywhere near each other, they start fighting.
But they fight in the least the least normal way that we've ever seen fighting, where they start punching each other.
Yeah.
In DBZ fashion.
Yeah, they never hit each other. They're literally just like punching each other's fists. Yeah. They're literally just throwing arms. It's just like a big circle around them. Every time they meet.
Yeah, every time they meet.
This happens like 3 or 4 times.
And then somebody comes in and interrupts them and is like,
Karika.
Yeah, and she's like, "Hey, but dinner's almost soon." And he's like, "Waiter, sup,
He's like,
boy,
"You're lucky."
you're lucky. The thing I hate more than you is a cold meal." And then it's like, "But Genma, your bath is gonna get cold. You're lucky. The thing I hate more than you is a cold bath."
No, it's missing out on a hot spring.
On a hot spring.
Because like the outside hot springs are gonna close soon.
And then they find in the hot spring, and it's just like every
So
time.
this is my favorite part. So the one thing I've hated about animes is like you have two people who vehemently hate each other, right?
Yep.
Like Genma and Kazuma.
Yep.
And then they finally fight it out.
Yep.
And then they're like good friends. And I've always hated it. Like you've
Well,
had such
one gets the upper hand,
and extends the hand.
extends the hand,
And I
helps the
hated
person
it.
up.
Yes.
And then they become friends, and Henry hates it.
So in this episode,
The
scene happens, and Kazuma extends his hand to his father, and they have a contact, and like this whole monologue's going on, like, oh, like I think they finally fought their issues out, cool, and then like so Genma reaches for his hand, and Kazuma helps him up, and then he just hip checks him back into the ground, like I can never forgive you. I'm just like yes, just freaking out the entire time.
It was great. It was actually really fun. I enjoyed it. And Henry had even said it in an earlier episode. It was like
Because I think it happened like once before.
Yeah, somebody helps him up and hip check, and like as soon as I saw the episode, I was like, oh, Henry's gonna be ready for this.
Yeah.
That was a good part. I like
And now we enter the final arc.
downloading demons for the right price.
Did you know for $9.99?
For $9.99, you too can download a magical demon to give you magical powers.
Yeah.
So now we learn a lot more about what happened in the 4 years that Kazuma hasn't been there, even though we didn't know Kazuma before those 4 years.
And we learn how unprepared they were.
You like
with the story.
exposition? You like exposition? I like exposition. The next 7 episodes are exposition.
They're exposition and not that much actual good fighting, and then Kazuma randomly turning evil for like a little while, and then Kazuma becoming a good guy again, and then them fighting the villain, and then the villain getting away, and then the series is over.
Yeah.
But the best part about this arc is...
But the main plot is it's something called Pandemonium.
Yep.
So what it is it was a website that people go on to, and if you clicked yes,
It's an RPG.
you had a demon downloaded into you.
And you get to play an RPG in real life with
Yes.
magic.
Yep.
So if you defeat other players, gain experience. If you gain experience, you got more powers.
Yep. It's a really cool
And
idea.
It is yeah, no.
I think the idea is cool, but when they start explaining how it works, it breaks down. And then when they stop caring about Pandemonium and start caring about this being about destroying humanity, and we also start going into Kazuma's backstory as to what happened.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and Ren was kidnapped too. Can't forget that.
Yeah.
Ren was kidnapped.
Ren's the damsel in distress, because we can't have Ayano be the damsel in distress.
But of course.
Ren's a better damsel in distress.
He is.
Bro, Ren also gets himself out of being damsel in distress.
And then the
Yep.
crystal gems show up.
Oh, God.
Ayano fights Lapis.
Yep, he fights Lapis. Lapis is a clone of the girl that he fell in love with back in China during the 4-year time skip.
Yep.
In the first year of the 4-year time skip, because we get time doesn't work this
Time
way.
doesn't- 1 + 1 is not equaling 2. Like 1 + 2 is not equaling 3 in this whole backstory of the 4 years he's been gone. So to break it down, in the 4 years he's been gone, for the first year he was just living a normal life.
So for half of the so we find out first there is a time skip between then and when he finally became a contractor.
Yep.
Which is when Su Ling was sacrificed to a demon by the villainous organization of this thing
So that happened a year after he left.
well within the first 2 years.
Within the first 2 years that he left.
Yeah.
He awoke to his wind power.
Yeah. And then by the time that he had met Police Girl,
Yep.
he had already mastered being a contractor, and he was already a contractor. She says
And
this.
that was within roughly a year before.
No, that was 2 years. That was at 2 years.
At 2 years.
So they say a thing in the flashbacks that is, "Hey, I remember the old Kazuma who used to be a drunkard and everything." I'm like, so wait, if this is before he was a contractor, that means he's 16 or 17. was known for being a drunkard at 16 or 17, and then somehow got over it and met Su Ling, is now living with Su Ling and working at a store. I think all within the span of 2 years.
Yep.
But people are acting like it's more like 4 years.
Yep.
Time don't work that way.
Yeah. They give themselves too short of a window and then try to cram too much shit in it.
Yeah, that was the problem with the last few episodes. That's the problem that I have with the last few episodes.
Yeah.
Because these are the ones that I watched just recently, actually, pretty much yesterday. I just powered through the last few episodes, and they're the most ingrained in my head. It felt like it was building up to a point.
I also feel that the flashback to Sui Ling should have been done as its own episode, not in the middle of an episode.
Yeah.
But if they would have introduced Bernhardt much earlier,
Yes.
with Lapis,
for sure.
Yeah.
we would have had a reason for Kazuma to actually be pursuing them.
Yep.
And then making all the side things happen.
Because until then, he was just like blindly pursuing things, and
Yeah,
you're
he
like,
was just
what
going
is
along with
going
it
on?
until eventually Kurika is like, hey, Pandemonium. And they're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's the main plot. So if you want to actually watch this thing to make sense of it, watch episode 1, 2, 3, 4, and then skip all the way to 17.
Yep.
And you will have missed nothing of main importance.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much.
Except maybe a few characters getting introduced like Yukari and
And Catherine.
But you can figure them out really
Yeah.
quickly.
I mean, Yukari
you-
and Nanase are
yeah.
in the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You know who they are.
You figure them out pretty fast. So you can actually
Oh,
skip.
I forgot. This
The only
arc
person
also
is
does
Catherine.
like the worst thing ever to Yukari and Nanase, where
Yeah.
one
the
of the
kidnapping.
Yeah.
one of the characters kidnaps Nanase, and then
Kazuma lets it happen, and Kazuma also assaulted Catherine.
yeah, and then Nanase goes to save. I forget which one's which. The blue
She
hair.
goes to get more. The blonde friend goes
Yeah.
to get more information.
and gets
Yeah,
captured.
and gets captured by the same person who
And then-
captured Inase.
And then he gets killed, but then somehow she still gets mind controlled and
Yeah.
gets put into a maid outfit, while the other one gets put into a bondage gear. And it's
Yep.
just like, these characters are actual characters. Why are you doing this to them?
Yeah, it felt real bad.
It felt not great. It was just
It felt kind of rushed.
this whole arc is, first of all, the longest arc we've ever had, and
Yeah.
felt rushed.
By that we mean it was more than 3 or 4 episodes.
Yeah, all these other arcs were 3 to 4 episodes long. This arc was 7 or 9 or something like that. Like, a lot of episodes. And I feel like they could have done a better job doing it. I felt like and also the realization that this will never have an ending because the actual author died in a car crash before he could finish writing it.
Yeah.
So this is the actual ending to the anime.
It was the most mediocre ending to a shonen.
Mm-hmm.
Even the big 3.
Yeah.
2 of them had really good endings, and One Piece still hasn't ended. So
I mean, we'll find out when One Piece does end in
Yep.
our lifetime, maybe.
Maybe.
I mean,
kids are gonna be watching it.
Oda is older than all of us, so that means it has to end in our lifetime.
sometime.
Maybe.
He's not immortal. He is not Araki.
I think
So
what was,
let's quickly discuss the animation then.
Yes. All right. So, quickly, you say. Quickly.
quickly is probably the best way to describe this animation.
It was very rushed. You know how we like to poke fun at like keyframes for different shows, like the Pain arc for the God arc.
Yeah.
This is a 2007's anime, frankly using 2002 2001 animation.
Yeah.
Their fight scenes are mainly people standing still shooting fireballs at people.
There's some movement, and some of the choreography gets better in the.
I'll
I'll take this show over CG any day. But
I agree with that.
it still left a sour taste in my mouth because
But-
it's like the tracking shot of what's her face, not Satsuki, where she's like running the crawl up the building and everything's moving super fast, but she herself is walking at a brisk pace.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like, that's still real. But like, there's no good. The term is Sakuga moments, which
Is it Sakuga
yeah.
moments? Okay.
There's no good Sakuga moments in this. This is all stilted animation, and
Very stiff and rigid. It wasn't.
It was
fluid.
very
we
rigid.
have a sword fight between Lapis and Ayano, and it is
Oh, I forgot about that.
god awful.
Lego animations look better.
Like, I like good animation. I am
Yeah, no, that sword fight
huge
was
fan of Trigger,
horrendous.
Gainax, Madhouse, and Bones. So when I watched this, and I was just like, what is going on with this animation? They could have done something. Ugh.
Well, that's why it was produced by Studio Gonzo that no one cares about.
So did produce a really good thing too.
Yeah, but
And then Madhouse took over and did way better.
yeah.
So then let's talk about my other favorite part.
Ooh, are we gonna talk about the music?
Talk about the background music and the
Oh
opening
my
and
god.
EDs. So Rob is not going to be a part of the opening ED credit.
Oh, I still watch them.
Yeah.
I just didn't watch them every single episode.
Yeah.
But how about that background music when spooky things was happening?
Oh my
Boom,
word.
boom, 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 boom.
It was.
I could actually.
It was. They could have done so much better.
It was. There's no actual like music.
No,
playing.
there's not. There's
And-
just like.
So the
repeated
opening
tones.
theme is called "Blast of the Wind," performed by Saori Kuji.
So the opening's okay.
The opening was okay. I liked it a little
Once you
bit.
get past the monologue.
The monologue, man. That's a monologue.
That monologue every episode got tiring, and this is coming from a person. Well, actually, it's. I like Hunter x Hunter's opening with its monologue because the person reading the monologue is emotional
Yeah.
and it's really good. Like
But this monologue is not that.
this monologue is bad. Like it's
Like the first impression to your anime is Kazuma reading the monologue, and you're like, okay, well then.
yep. And then the ED, which only changes once. They do
No, it changes twice.
Does it change?
Yes, it changes
But
twice.
they only change the animation. They don't change the song.
Yeah, they only change the animation.
And it's just the animation is just Kazuma laying down in a backfield of grass.
No,
Or red.
No, the majority of it is Kazuma laying down the grass. The exception being the one episode that was mostly Ren. That one was Ren laying in the grass.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's changed it twice.
Yeah.
And the
But man, why is Kazuma so prevalent when Ayato is the main character? This doesn't make any sense to me.
nope.
Nope.
The song I don't remember anything of it.
I don't know either.
Like I'm a big fan of really good EDs. So like Madoka and
The ending themes are Hitorikiki no Sora and
Don't hurt yourself,
Madakiki no
Henry.
Kiba. Listen.
Don't hurt yourself.
I don't remember them, and they don't really stick with me like anything that like Cardcaptor Sakura's EDs or like really good EDs stick with me. And sometimes like I will watch a bad anime, but like if its ED is good, I will remember the ED.
Oh, for sure.
There was two endings. There was two ending themes.
Okay.
There was two ending themes.
Yes.
One was done by Saori, and the other one was done by a trio of composers.
I think the last arc had a different ending theme.
Okay.
But the actual animation was the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, you would pretty much consider those alternate endings, but they're the same thing.
Yeah.
They're the same music, but one's A and one's B.
Yep. Well, I think that's all we can really talk about music. I mean, like
The fact is there's a lack of music.
yeah, and this is more prevalent because last night me and Henry watched Fooly
Cooley,
and
which was
I
amazing.
Immediately just just by music alone, the pillows
man.
are
The best.
amazing.
Like they're one of the better composers. Like the ending theme to Fooly Cooley, I've played it around I think 4,000 times on my iTunes.
I was trying to find it as a ringtone.
That would be amazing as a ringtone.
It's a great ringtone.
I have it as a ringtone.
Yeah.
Like, it's good.
Send
Pretty
me
good.
that as a ringtone.
I will.
But
It's very good.
But yeah, like, Fooly
does it work
Cooley-
with iPhone.
I mean, you should have the same kind of platform that I use.
Okay.
Like I use Zedge.
But
so I
Fooly
mean-
Cooley is a good.
Zedge doesn't.
You have an equivalent.
We'll discuss
Yeah.
that later.
Yeah.
Fooly Cooley is a good explanation. A good like is probably like the perfect example of how like music can like impact the mood. The music for Kaze No Stigma had no impact.
It was
on what
basic
you were
shonen
feeling.
music.
Yeah, it was just background filler noise. That was it.
And the sound effects between the Japanese and the English one, they're a little bit more comical in the English because they can't use the same ones. So the English, like if you could take the Japanese sound effects and mix it with the English words, which would basically be like an English Blu-ray release,
Yeah.
it would sound much better. But like the sound effects were kind of comical at best.
I think
English.
I think the voice acting was okay for an early Funimation dub too. Like this
I
isn't-
don't. They have no excuse. Funimation has no excuse.
I
No,
mean,
they
like,
don't.
this was an early Funimation dub. I can tell it by the voice acting. Like, a lot more recent dubs have been really good.
Because one of the big name voice actors was actually a side character that ended up dying.
Ooh.
You're right.
It's a pretty big problem.
Yeah, that is a pretty big problem.
You hire him to be the main character, not to be a side character that just dies.
Yeah. So that's all I think we can discuss about the Kaze No Stigma. So now we're
Good.
going to do the best part, which is we're making a ranking system for all the anime we watch throughout the entire podcast.
Yep.
We've not watched it. This is episode 1, as you are seeing.
So where does this go? Straight to the top.
Yep, this is number 1.
Number 1.
Kaze No Stigma is the best anime we have ever watched.
It is 1 out of 1.
1 out of 1.
For sure.
Can't I will be
Can confirm.
Yep, can confirm. 1 out of 1.
It's 4 out of 10. I'm sorry. It's 4 out of 10.
I mean, if we were going to actually give it a score, I would give it 4 out of 10. Or
I mean, if we do a ranking system like that, then I mean, it'll keep going down the more we go. Except
Oh, no.
for
I mean, we don't know.
We'll see.
Because now comes the best part. I'm
Ooh,
going
we
to
get to
go
randomize.
over to the random.org. We're going to click randomize.
you
Drum roll,
typed
please.
into all of those.
No, you just copy and paste. Drum roll, please.
Oh my God.
Trinity Blood. Oh, I know this one. All right.
I do not.
This was one that used to show up on Adult Swim a bunch. This is actually you guys could take one of two things from this. So Trinity Blood. I will go to a quick synopsis. Earth's population drastically increased. Humanity led by United Nations attempts to colonize Mars. During the colonization, they discovered 2 alien technologies: the bacillus virus and the Krosnik nanomachines. The colonists inject bacillus in their bodies, and which transforms them into method. Let me just say this: they're vampires with sci-fi shit.
Okay. And then they
Nanomachines.
installed the
Nanomachines, son.
Krusnik in the bodies of 4 test tube babies, Seth, Cain, Abel, and Lilith, who enhanced bodies were the only ones able
Can't
to
stop
survive the
with this.
procedure.
No, it's going to be religious sub-themes
No.
with vampires. It's actual. I remember
All right.
this being
Set
good.
900 years after a popular war between humans and vampires, the series focuses on ongoing Cold War between the Vatican, the human government, and the new human empire, the government of the vampiric Methuselah. Fighting on the Vatican side is Abel, Krusnik, a vampire feeds on the vampires.
Yeah.
A vampire that feeds on vampires.
Yep.
Okay.
So our main character is vampire that feeds on vampires. I'm actually excited. I haven't watched this in a long time.
Original run was from the light novel.
That's the light novel. The original animation.
2000. Oh boy.
Yeah, we're going to
2005.
2005.
Okay.
Where was I in 2005?
Just starting middle school.
Middle school.
I was in elementary school. I think.
I remember this airing on Adult Swim.
I think I was in 5th grade.
I remember this anime as soon as I saw Trinity Blood. So this is gonna probably be me being nostalgic as fuck for this.
No, I was in 6th grade at the
Probably.
time. Yeah.
because I remember liking this. So
This was on Toonami?
No, Adult Swim.
Adult Swim.
This was
Oh.
TVMA. Like I can assure you, this was on Adult Swim.
I'm.
Interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Excited because
How many
this-
episodes is it?
24.
24.
All right. So this was the first episode of 26 and Under, part of the NRD Podcast Network. Like, share, and subscribe, and we will see you next week. This was Matt
Robert?
And Henry.
signing off from 26 and Under.
Deuces.
Deuces.
鏡の前で